talk about whatever we want to talk about. Obviously, Puffy's been in the big news, and everybody's got a comments about that, and Trumpism and Biden and college football over the weekend. Michigan beat Ohio State, which I was very glad of. But I mean, I just don't know who's necessarily the best team. You know, it's still Georgia, Michigan. We'll see how it all pans out. Washington Huskies got a little debate. Florida State got a little debate. It's gonna be interesting how that college pro that thing go. I'm not really sure who's a clear cut. We'll see how that all plays out. NBA tournaments heating up a little bit, seeing a little bit, little things. You know, it's still early in the season. I'm still not really that big on that tournament. A lot of teams were scoring crazy points, and you know, aside from maybe one person or two on the Indiana Pacers, do you know who's scoring all them points? Because the Pacers are the highest scoring team. That is crazy. Who knew? But you know, it's just one of them things where it's still early in the season, so there's a lot going on with all that. And you know, it depends on where you are, what you're into, what you're doing. Um, you know, Sunday night, Sunday afternoon, depends on where you are. So, you know, if you got a moment, feel free. Like I said, I'll be here for a moment. I'll see if anybody comes through, wants to chop it up, um, getting stuff together and whatnot. Yeah, you know, I did a video. I talked about the Boston Celtics and the San Antonio Spurs. I was thinking about that. That was a trip, how that came about, who would have won out the two. And I had the Celtics in 7 because I thought Bird would have figured out against Duncan and them, but it would have been a great match, especially when Casey Jones was coaching the Celtics and against Popovich. Would have been real interested. And, you know, I'm not putting Ginobili on the same sentence with Kevin McHale, but they both were 6 men who became starters and great talents, you know, individually in different ways. So that would have been interesting. Did that video. And then I went to the basketball discussion site, and I never knew about Dr. J could have teamed up with Oscar Robertson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. The Milwaukee Bucks got jacked out of that. So we're going to see. What's up, T? How you doing, man? Good to see somebody coming through. And by the way, congratulations on that win. Beat Detroit. And people still saying they think the Lions are ready for prime time. Jordan Love looked pretty good in that game. So, you know, I mean, we'll see. You know, I mean, I'm not got no expectations for Green Bay because, you know, they're on the bottom end of the teams, but the Lions been they've been let out of sorts. They barely escaped with that game against Chicago. So they were almost due for an L. And they couldn't pick a worse time to kind of get Slumpville. That's the only problem I have with that situation. Yeah. Well, thank you. They got to win it this year because I think Harbaugh is gone. I mean, he got 2 suspensions. And, you know, after last year dropping that way, they lost to TCU. He got to come up big this year. I mean, they got the team, so this is about the time. And right now, Georgia aside, there's no clear-cut probably number 1. So everybody is vulnerable. So it's the time. But Ohio State will make some noise. I wouldn't rule them out of beating them. I'm sorry to hear that, man. My condolences to your moms, man. I'm sorry to hear that. And she was only 72, man. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I'm really sad to hear that. You know, I grew up so much talking about not only water, but, you know, take care of your kidneys and just not knowing, you know, it's just my condolences. And that's far too young, far too young. Really, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad to see you. Appreciate you. I know it's, you know, again, can't begin to tell you enough times are right now, and it's kind of hard to, you know, put in perspective. But prayers and thoughts are with you and your family. That is some realness when, yeah, it's a real tough time. And that is the reality of sometimes when you just, you know, you have to deal with that. Yeah. Imagine so. I think the Penn State cat gonna get fired too because they win all them games. They just don't beat the teams they supposed to beat. So they be playing, you know, they be playing around. I imagine so, man. I mean, when you're the youngest, you're the young pup in the family, and everybody knows that you're the apple of the eye, and that's really tough because the relationship and dynamics are so different. Sometimes you come from a big family, and your parents are people who took care of you. That money, that timing that they did, and by the time they come to you, life's a little bit more. You catch the Some people say you catch the gravy end of it because sometimes the early part of it they had to was different. Some families, so it all depends on the timing, with everything. But it's yeah, I definitely understand, and it's never easy when you lose a loved one. Losing people is tough. Spiritually, we pray, and we like to think they don't have to suffer no more and in a better place. The hardest thing for me when anyone is deceased is basically making sure that there's always quotes because I don't want anyone to hurt, be in pain. However, it's always quotes that I look for, the things I long for them to say. More importantly, yeah, yeah, yeah. That can be a generational gap right there, and sometimes people kind of be like holding it up, and and again, times you catch your family at different intervals in their life because some other siblings had to go through something a little bit more. It depends. Different families had different situations, but it's definitely gonna hit you for a while, and there's no time limit for grieving and pain. So anytime you need to talk, feel free. That's tough. That's really tough to be the first. I've been down that road where I had to deliver the news, and it's never easy, you know, and it'll, you know, brings a lot of character out of you, but it's tough. It can be really traumatic, really. So again, thoughts and prayers are with you, man. I mean, anytime you need to talk, for free, because I don't just talk about entertainment and sports and stuff. I talk about life and death issues, which I've experienced since I was growing up. Yeah, it is. Well, it should have been a preview of the Super Bowl, but I don't see that happening. I mean, if the Bills win this game, then I think they could be into a turnaround. But the problem is they're going against a team that just knows 99 ways to win games. I mean, we don't even give Philadelphia's coach any love, but Jalen Hurts is so dynamic that, they just find ways to win. I mean, they beat you different ways. And if they were to go off and win the chip this year, I wouldn't be shocked or surprised. I mean, they are probably the most scariest team that is where they are, where you don't really get the respect, and people are still waiting for Jalen Hurts to kind of fall off or whatever. The thing about them is that they haven't even played their best game yet. They haven't hit their peak yet. That's how scary Philly is. They do enough to win. They find a way to win, and they tough. They beat you in different ways. They beat you with special teams. They beat you with the run. They beat you with the pass. They beat you with the picks. They just got different ways to win. I mean, they're a very complete team. And to me, it's out of them in San Francisco and the NFC. To me, they're the top two teams. And I know Barry wants Dallas to kind of sneak in there, but I just think those are the two best teams. Bills need this game badly because that's the hope. That's the only way they get in the playoffs. They have to make a stand and make a start right now, and they don't have any tomorrows, and they have not played. They beat a sorry, no excuse, accountable Jets team, but that mess don't count, and they still left points on the board. So, but this is a big game. This is pretty much their season right here. They got to win, and they got to figure out a way to get it done on and out. So they got some big games coming. We're gonna find out what kind of character Josh Allen and the Bills and everything got, but it's kind of hard to imagine they're going to beat Philly. I mean, Philly's tough. I want the Bills to win. However, I got much respect for what Jalen Hurts does because, aside from that Super Bowl, that team, they find ways. I mean, they winning. They are winning. So that's a huge game. Huge game. But yeah, like I said before, time you want to talk on the real personal, feel free. I ain't hard to find, and I talk about a lot of life and, their situations and personal. And you get to a point in your life, you just understand that, you're mortal and nothing is forever. You just pray for the best and take one day at a time and be thankful. It's a gift. It's not something that you are promised to. So every step, every movement, you gotta be thankful. And I like to, stay humble about it because I've seen some things. And there's a lot of people that didn't make it to be, it's a gift and a blessing. It's still tough though to see people who die so young, though, because you like to see people, be fully. So yeah. So yeah, anytime. But yeah, that that's a huge game. So we'll see. We shall see. We shall see what happens with that. Um, you know, I think Philly's gonna win that NFC East. you know, um, I've been seeing them Dallas fans, and you know, I know Dak's gonna be a father, so congratulations to him. But to me, that's the only ring. That's the only big time he came up big because I just don't be feeling it. And they beat up on a Washington team that throw in the towel. They fired Jack Del Rio on defense. Well, when you got rid of Chase Young in that defense, I mean, your team, your season's over. So, and Sam Howell is not the answer. He's a nice third tier. He makes Kirk Cousins look like Joe Theismann. So, you know, so ain't much there. Not much there, you know. But their season's over. And when they let Danny DeVito, Tom DeVito, whatever name is, beat them, I'm like, hey, y'all done. Y'all done. We're done. So, you know. So yeah. Yeah, feel free to answer any more questions or whatnot. I don't usually I haven't figured out, as far as notifying if I'm gonna have a live. If I have a live stream, anybody want to come on, I kind of like do it spontaneous because I don't really like to be rehearsed. I like to just kind of like if I was the ice cream truck pull up in the neighborhood, anybody got something to say, want to get down, feel free, you know. There's a lot of interesting topics. I mean, obviously, with all these assault charges going on, Jamie Foxx's thing, which I did a video about with Jimmy Iovine and all that. A lot of stuff sounds believable, credible. And Marcellus Wiley, I didn't really touch on that one all the way. I did Axl Rose, which I touched on. But again, a lot of these times, they are different in black or white. They're not seen as the same. They're not touched as the same. And people, uh, you know, but this Puffy Cassie thing was real. Oh yeah, well, when you don't have a lot of talent and you tap dancing and shuffling and bucking and cooning, uh, they don't never respect you. So it's just a matter of time before you just driving around, you popping wheelies without wheels. You gonna fall hard. And they used her. They use them all. You know, I don't have a problem with you being black and conservative. I have a problem when you act like you have to denounce who you are. Your skin never changes. I don't know how many times I gotta tell people that. I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care about your sexual preference. I don't care if you're interracial, who you with. Your uniform never changes because it never does. Because you still gonna be black, and they gonna still find a way to call you the N-word and try to make you into a topic. So you do a disservice when you think you're gonna get some crossover appeal. You ain't getting no. I don't care. I tell it. I don't, because it happens to all. It's no acceptance. It just doesn't work. It never works. They still gonna call you out. They still gonna come after you, and you still black. He said Dirk said the N-word. I know about Dirk. I seen his children, just like Boris Beck. I seen it. And Dirk, I respect Dirk as a player. Um, was he called an N-word at the game, or did Dirk say it? That's what I want to know. Because I can address both of them individually. Well, KG done sold out. KG done, he's talking crazy about LeBron James, and I don't know whose pom-poms done twerked him. I don't know what the hell with KG. He talked crazy. KG was a great player and a talent, but to me, he underachieved. He should have been Peyton Manning to Tim Duncan's Tom Brady. And he had all the antics and the manner, but he just didn't always, until he got with Paul Pierce, but he just didn't always, for what he did. Great talent, but I don't know. But yeah, I do know about Dirk being, I know about Dirk. I just don't know about what it was said. I don't know. I haven't really, I don't know what's all going on with KG's personal. I know about the last thing. I heard some craziness and I forgot about it. And then I see his videos and Paul Pierce will be chopping up. He be talking crazy, and he did that whole thing about LeBron. Some mess he did, and I'm just shaking my head. So I don't know what to tell you about KG no more. He done kind of gone off deep end, but he got to probably pull it. They just got to get guard. They got to get some players around. They got to get some, they got to get some pieces. And Lord knows if they can find a young Tony Parker Ginobili type with him, get your Kawhi type, get you a Sean Elliott type off the bench. You get you a couple pieces like that, and yeah. They're just real green right now, and they got fresh, he's still fresh and green, but he put a couple pounds on his behind. Get that season under his belt. Pop's gonna have him pretty good. I think he's got a chance to have a bit of a career. I don't want to get into all this overhype that he's gonna be better than this person, that person, because you see a lot of potential. But but yeah, I know everybody want to know about. I already did a video about old Josh Giddey with the OKC. They're not talking about that. None of them are talking about old Giddey. And from Australia, with the underage situation, ain't nobody gonna talk about that. Ain't be gonna sweep that underneath the carpet. We'll see how that turned out. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama had a team like OKC with Shea Chris Alexander, had something like that. He could be a problem ASAP. Yeah, because like Paul Mooney said, complexion for the protection, and I say for the direction, for the conditions, they ain't gonna touch that. And he ain't the only one. Okay, stop acting like this is just something. The only one, or this person was. That's been going on forever. It's part of show business, and people forget that sports is show business. Professional sports is being a rock star. It's being a rapper. It's being an actor. It's you attract all that. If you don't believe me, as big as Michael Jordan was in the 90s, Dennis Rodman held his own. Oh, they all did. Everybody ran through a league. I remember it very well. He messed with Foxy Brown. Because they had a hit together, I'll Be, back in 95. Look it up. That was before Foxy. And Foxy was able to come out with a book. She could blow the industry up. You heard it here first. I don't know if you watched Storm and Road, which I do respect the brother and I peep him out, but he ain't even tapped on that one. Believe me, if Foxy Brown ever had an uncut book, she teared the industry up. She messed with Jigga. She got info on Puffy. She know about Biggie, all of them. That whole East Coast thing, and she used to mess with Corrupt, Daz and Corrupt. So she could be real lethal. And she didn't if they didn't put her to sleep. So just saying. But anyway, it's no secrets. I mean, I'm one of those kind of theorists that they mess with the wrong white folk, and now they come to collect. And it's like, yo, you got to give up something, and your money get funny, we coming to collect. They don't wanna hush up no more. So that's what I'm thinking. You know, that's how I feel about it. 'Cause that's how I look at it. Because I think it, they always know what's going on. They just play this game where, they just kind of like, you know, he'll never be canceled, but he'll never get no endorsements. I think I addressed this with you about him because he won a couple Super Bowls, won 3 Super Bowls, and he was a good American boy. He was a frat boy, but a good American boy. And let me explain. He stood up for the flag, very so-called patriotic, and all that stiffness that got him over. That's why they don't come after him. But me and Ben Roethlisberger, he's a more talented version of Michael Rappaport. If Michael Rappaport had talent, that's who he would be. Yeah. What's up, Nate? How you living? What's up? What's up? Glad to have you on board. Good to see you. Right on. Peace and a pound to you too. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. But they ain't gonna cancel no court. They don't. No. There is no. Fact cracks me up. People talk about cancel culture, but what's canceled? They still sell them. They still making merch. They still making corn. Ain't nothing changed. The only thing is that they ostracize you. They act like it never existed, which is hokey and comical because if so-and-so dies today or tomorrow, they're going to come out and make crazy money off of them. You think I'm lying? Let Harvey Weinstein die today or tomorrow. His movies will get crazy play on every channel you can imagine, and the money will come, and they will pay, and they will go crazy. Let R. Kelly die tomorrow. They will open up them gates. They'll have his songs covered. They'll whitewash it, and they'll blow it up. And right now, you know what that AI, that robot, they don't forgave him. But what happened with him is that the powers that be got him in the Fox, and they kind of slowly ushered him in. And he had Tony Dungy speak for him. He had the right people to kind of, they don't forgive his actions, but they let him back on TV. And he did get to play for Philly, and he looked all right. He just, it just what it was. But no, he won't be no Hall of Famer, and no, he won't get. They because he was young and he got out, and he was never a threat. That's why he had an opportunity. He was talented. They made a coin off of him, and he wasn't a threat. See, he wasn't like Kaepernick. If he had been saying something, believe me, they would have probably really distanced themselves from him, but they didn't do it. So, and that's why he got a little bit of a pass. But it all depends on who you ask me about. It's different situations. Great question. That's tough because, wow. My dark horse is C.J. Stroud for Houston. I think that's incredible. I mean, Stroud has impressed me. I never see Ohio State boys coming up like that. So I'm still thinking about Terrell Pryor and some of the others. But he balling. If Christian McCaffrey hadn't got hurt, he would have been on it. Jalen Hurts had a better numbers, he would definitely be in the showcase running. That's tough. It's tough. Mahomes, what you want to say, but they're just not where they should be. Tua had a chance, but Miami's kind of spotty. Yeah, it is. I mean, it really is, and I don't know if there's a clear-cut one. It'd probably be one of them years that'd be something that you didn't expect, But I have to really think about it. You got to throw some names out again, and I have to really think because, you always think of quarterbacks first, but, Well, if I don't think about that Frisco game and that Arizona game, I'd probably say he got a good chance. But them 2 games, he looked like a buster. And the wins he's had against the Jets and the Giants twice and Washington, He was impressive in that Chargers game, but they didn't beat some crappy butt teams that stat pattern that you know, I mean, Jared Goff would have better consideration from me than Dak. It'd be about neck and, pardon me, about neck and neck. And they about neck and neck in terms of my football quarterback tier. So if he can find a way to get Dallas over Philadelphia, he got strong consideration. But if they finish third seed and Philly's ahead of them, and no. Yeah, I saw that. And I thought his arrogance finally stepped down for a moment. I might do a video about that. Good gave me a good topic to probably touch up on. That should have been a no-brainer. But the thought of almost 30 years since you last been to a Super Bowl win and this championship game, and he's starting to feel he's getting older now. He ain't so cocky as he was. Yeah, I mean, Jim Johnson was a big time turnaround coach. You know what he did there was incredible. Didn't work in Miami. Did get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar some run-ins, but the running back, but didn't work quite the same. But he did get them in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, without Jimmy Johnson, and you can make the case that Barry Switzer owes him a piece of that ring too. You know, but they haven't had it as easy as they had since then. I'll go on so ruckus to say they could have had a San Antonio Spurs dynasty. Well, it is about the Patriots dynasty, but I'm talking about where you'd be great for a long time, you know. Yeah. But when you go out here and you badmouth and you say, "Oh, I could go get 500 other guys to do that job," well, yeah. And Jimmy's older now. Jimmy got humble pie coaching the Dolphins, and time has a way of making you come to your common senses one way or the other, But that's where ego went awry. But I never would have said that stupid stuff that man said, because he just lost his natural mind. And you saw what then happened. I mean, they got stuck with Dave Campo after they got rid of Barry Switzer. They do. Emmett and Troy. Emmett, because he made Jerry Jones get out that bag. And Troy has been a very good commentator. I mean, I've been very impressed with what how he commentates games. He doesn't seem like he's being swayed by, because he works for the media. He's very good. So, I mean, yeah. They're not gonna throw any smoke and screens. They know good and well that was an insult that Jimmy Johnson wasn't there. So yeah, well, Mike Irvin, I call him the Black Randy Savage. It sounds like he's snorting and over talking. Because Mike Irvin owes a lot to Jimmy Johnson because he likes that limelight too much. He likes that spotlight. And everybody, some cats is just because he played with Dallas. He's was successful, one of the greatest receivers ever. But, they basically use him to whatever, and he doesn't mind it. And that's sad, too. It's really sad. Dak is a brother that, like that, like that Get Out movie, Dak, because Jerry never wanted a black quarterback. He loved Romo. And you got to remember, he came right behind Romo, and he slurped Romo. That is presidential. He's AJ Square. He's just what they like. And, so. But that don't get you nowhere. And I think he loses out in respect because, he ain't going to say nothing. He ain't going to rock the boat. But I know good and well that white man was standing at that door in Arkansas, and he know good and well them black kids was trying to go to school, and nobody won't talk about it. See? And, well, Vin Baker did it over the top. Russell crossover appeal, but Russell ain't even really get it all out. See, Russell should have gotten that the barge who's Johnny Rhythm of the Night hit, and he really ain't got that like he should. So they really ain't fully buy him like they should. So I think they saw some hood in him because he ain't really get it like that, you know. I mean, but Vin was just dancing for them, and they clowned him, and they come out and say he has some mental issues, and he was a good player in Milwaukee, came to Seattle, and got turned out, and I don't know. And I'll never forget that whole episode, But we used to clown him all the time, and they both came to Seattle. And Russell, Russell is kind of in between stuff. But he never, again, he's almost like that. They didn't lowball him. Mm-hmm. Sierra actually got the upgrade of the situation, if you must know. And he did wonders for that because, Sierra was a double broke, great value Janet Jackson. And that was an upgrade for her. Russell, if they don't be cute and win that second Super Bowl, beat New England, we talking about him not only as a first ballot Hall of Famer, but one of the GOATs and a precursor to Mahomes. But yeah, Kemp. So I was did the thing with Too Raw, and I got into it was his cat, and he was had a problem because I said Kemp ain't gonna get in the Hall of Fame. He won't because he's too black. But also, yeah, he had a great performance against the Bulls in '96. I remember it very Blake Griffin. And if your answer is neither one, you got a chance to win. What is neither one? This is Jeopardy. I'll buy 5,000. One of the reasons why I understand why LeBron James didn't do the slam dunk contest, but I'm thinking it was considered too black. It was a one-sided thing. A lot of them cats, once you get after Vince Carter, a lot of them cats ain't gonna get no Hall of Fame. Yeah, they were slam dunk guys, but what else did they have for their game? And see, Kemp's getting long in the tooth as far as consideration. He's been out the league for quite a minute, so I don't. But yeah, he was hood. He lit them eyes up, and he was. And Gary used to be howling, barking, all kinds of stuff. They toned Gary down on TV to an extent, but he got that bay in him. And Earl Thomas, yeah. Even though that whole thing with Earl Thomas and the ex-wife treated the new man like Bobby Womack and treated Earl Thomas like Sam Cooke. That stuff is crazy, that story. But yeah, Seattle don't want you too black. I live near there. I know they don't like them too black. They, when they got Pete Carroll and them got all those cats on offense and defense, it was kind of like, it was kind of like an orphan. It's kind of like different strokes. But when them cats started wanting money, then they were doing them. Yeah, Christmas Carroll did. So he played them all. But Michael Bennett is getting endorsements. Michael Bennett be doing, he's getting a lot. He's still getting some love. So he's getting a spin. And you know what? So is Marshawn. Marshawn is even bigger now in Seattle than he was when he played. So that's why Russell takes the L. Mm-hmm. Marshawn gets a love back in C-Town. They tolerate Christmas Carol. He's the rah-rah man. But that turkey getting exposed this time for messing with Geno Smith. Oh, of course, Chad Wheeler, yeah. That's not a surprise. I did a video about that, and again, Chad Wheeler is no different than Giddy and them. All them white cats who get busted on Twitter for making racist remarks, and then they say, well, they were young and dumb, and then it sits there. When we had these conversations about race and all this stuff, they don't hold people to the same accountability. They don't. It's not the same. And you get numb, and you feel kind of, you get numb behind it because they really don't, it's not the same, And, they as soon as it sweeps out the door. Don't happen to black athletes like that. I mean, when Allen Iverson got falsely accused by his ex-wife, it was a 2002. And they had all ESPN, they had all kinds of mush. They was doing all kinds of stuff. But white cats do stuff? Mm-mm. Oh, yeah. Michael Rappaport I know for all the Tribe Quest, Midnight Mars album, all that stuff, he's just like I call him higher learning. What he portrayed, that's how he really is. And I feel that way about Eminem. I know people gonna come at me. I lost a couple people on my thing because I said that, yeah, he racist. I mean, yeah, he said the N-word. He's been out there, you know. Yes, he employs black folks. However, he benefits off it. He knows it, you know. And that whole Michael Jackson video alone, you just lose it. You know, if you've seen that, what was that? What was that? Yeah, well, Marcus Smart's problem is that he do be playing role play. Now, he ain't wrong, but Marcus Smart's problem is that he do come across, he did that in Boston. He did the dirty work. And he did do, you know, and that's not why the bad guy thug thing. It's because that's how he pushed his agenda as a player, because he was considered a tough guy. You know, Jason Tatum is the pretty boy, and Jaylen Brown is the guy who can look great and then be off. And Marcus Smart was the dude who was kind of like the rough rider. He was kind of like the quicker picker-upper, part Rodman, Oakley, Draymond style. You know, he was kind of like that dude. So, but Luka is. I mean, you know, Luka got skills, but right now he basically looks like a white version of James Harden until they start to win. Him and Kyrie can figure it out, and they did look good. They beat the Lakers and almost choked that game, but they can figure. They got their behind blew up by the Clippers that night. If they figure out how to make that work, you know, but because he's on the clock. They gave him the MVP. Giannis got one, and Jokic could get multiple. So Luka's, it's time for the next foreign cat, the cat that they initially wanted before Jokic, and the one they wanted to be neck and neck with Giannis. It's time for Luka to step up, because they keep calling him Baby Bird, and I, you know, he good and he got handles and he make the, but he gotta be consistent, and we're gonna see. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens. Because they be talking about him, and you know, we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna see what happens. So that's my thoughts on that. But nobody really taking Marcus Smart too serious. I mean, because Memphis sucks, okay? And I mean, their coach is overrated. You know, I like Udoka. I think if you follow in my videos, and I talked about that man, I said that man could coach. Why he got white ball for messing on the side, I don't even understand that. But that man can coach. And they are a green, forget all that funny stuff that went on with them in the all season. They are a legit team. They are really a legit team. I mean, they really got something that they got a chance to, you know, they legit. They legit. And I like him as a coach. I know they thought it was funny and fashionable to send him to Saudi Arabia because, you know, let's be realistic. The Rockets ain't exactly been booming and bringing it in ages. You know, a team that you necessarily think that are going to be a threat. But that man can coach. No, but see, they took it upon themselves to remind him that he's a Negro. See. And somebody got sprung because it kept on going on. So, you know, but he had to pay the price. And he got to remember what he was. I don't care if they got black coaches and black players. They is still Boston, okay? So don't act like Boston is some... They are known for being a bigot USA. You know, everybody wants to say Mississippi and Alabama and the South. Boston is just as racist and backwards and hateful, period. And what's impressive, he did that with a mask on. Imagine he had no mask on because you remember during the season he was. But you know, if they value, the man took them to the finals, okay, and I think that should be accounted for something because Brad Stevens didn't do it, and I don't know if their coach now going to. They don't. They aren't finishers. They were. I remember. See, I was a diehard baseball fan, so if you wanted some of my history, I used to be more of a hardcore baseball fan 4 years ago. I was more into baseball. I loved every other sport, but baseball was my plus Jackie Robinson and my family. Baseball was the thing. And I did like Jim Rice. I used to like Yastrzemski. I like him as a player. He racist as all get up, but I like him. You know, Jim Rice was one of my, I like those cats. Fred Lynn. I go back with all that. But then, you know, as a Yankee fan, I hated them, but I like some of their players. But yeah, I knew about their racist ways. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you tell people that happened in 1957, that's not 1857. It's less than 100 years ago. So, you know, we talking about what 70 years ago almost. People need to understand how racist this country been and how it is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He grew up as a boy with his father, and they, you know, you hear the words. People don't understand that you got to play through that. You get called all kinds of monkeys and apes and gorillas and all kinds of vile words, and you act like that's not going to, you know, stay with you. That's why King Griffey Jr. wouldn't play for the Yankees. But his father went there. Yeah, he did fit in, and then he would have been their favorite ninja until Big Papi came along. But you know what happened with that. But yeah. Yeah, I remember Wade Boggs. If you know Wade Boggs, he was a great player. He said he called Jim Rice Uncle Tom, and I cracked up because when a white person call you out, and you don't expect that to come out of his mouth, but he said it about Jim Rice. I never forgot that because I remember his Playboy interview, and that had me rolling. Oh yeah, I mean Albert Bell was like one of them brothers. It was like DeMarcus Cousins or Rasheed Wallace. You know, good and well, these things be so fixed and so fake that they don't want to. Yeah, you can't be too much of a threat. You can't be. Now, Mo was a really good player, but Albert Bell was balling back then, and they went to the World Series. But you know, sports politics is no different than the music industry politics or the Oscars and all that other mess. You know, it's all the same. It's all the same. You know, um, you know, I've seen it, and I remember Albert Bell was beasting because Manny Ramirez feasted with him. Told me all of them did. You know, but you know, they weren't gonna give him no love. They don't operate fairly. No, no, no. You know, they have their favorites. You know, they have their favorites. So, you know, that's part of it. Once you get used to it, you can't act like you know, they have cast that they want to push an agenda for, and then they got folks that if you appear to be too much of a threat, they wash their hands of you. And that's one of them. So, you know, I agree. I liked Albert. I remember that Cleveland team. But that's how it go. You know, there's always an agenda at work. Hold on. Keep on talking. There's always an agenda at work. So, yeah, always. Because baseball's always been funny like that. Mm-hmm. I used to tell all the time about J.R. Richards. I lived in Houston back in the day, and he was just as good as Nolan Ryan, probably better, because he had better control of his pitches. He had a blood clot. Bill Verdon, who I think was a suspect manager for the Astros, they didn't let J.R., you know, and they wanted to push Ryan. Gerald Richards was a beast. He was like the Jerry Ewing of the Astros. He was that good. He had some nasty stuff. If you ever get a chance to watch on YouTube, pitching the All-Star game, he had Reggie Jackson, all of them swinging. That's when the All-Star game meant something. National League, American League, it meant something back then. Yeah, I just got to talk about Gerald Richards, but yeah, Dwight Gooden was almost like like an updated Bob Gibson or Juan Marshall, if you will. He was. He was just as good as as Roger Clemens at one time. Dwight was a beast. He lived fast and hard though, and I'm not gonna, him and Strawberry were party hardy, and they won, and they had a lot happen so soon with the Mets. I remember that just like yesterday. And he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, just like Strawberry should have been the first ballot, because Strawberry was the link between Ken Griffey Jr. and Barry Bonds. One of the sweetest strokes you ever gonna see on a hitter. And Dwight Gooden had some nasty smoke. But them drugs and that lifestyle, There was a rumor once upon a time that they were actually gonna consider Denzel Washington to portray him in a movie once upon a time. Yeah, he did. And he did it 86, 96. I remember just like yesterday, because I'll never forget being at my grandma's house when they beat Boston. That was the craziest World Series. When Buckner, that ball went through his leg, that was crazy. And that was a crazy time. And then he won with the Yankees, and him and Strawberry won. But it didn't have the same kind of weight for him like it did for David Cone. David Cone got the rings, got more notoriety. Good and winning was good because the PR and everything involved, but you had to see him in his prime and his peak to appreciate him. That was a bad dude. Dwight Gooden was a precursor to Pedro Martinez. Yeah, Strawberry was wow, man. The clubhouse stories, the chicks. He beat colon cancer, prostate 2 times. And he went through a lot of stuff, did that bid, all kinds of stuff, crazy stuff with Straw. I go back with him 40 years ago, Tidewater Tides in Hampton, Virginia. He was with the Tidewater, was the Mets affiliated AAA team. I saw him throw a ball one time from the outfield. That guy had an arm, sweet stroke. Like I said before, them guys should have been 2 first ballot Hall of Fame. They're not gonna. His 400 home runs is almost just like, yeah, but I'm gonna tell you something. That's a cat that should have been pushing Bonds level, near it. Should have been within 100 of Bonds. He was something else. Should have been a 600 plus home run. That guy was something else, and it didn't get all of it out of him. We didn't get the bet, just like Dwight Gooden. Should have been a 300 game winner. Them guys were freaky talent. That was a time when black baseball players, you could see guys and you'd be like, wow. Because I want to say Strawberry grew up in LA with Eric Davis. Yeah. Yeah. And it sometimes you see guys and that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda for real. A really, really incredible talent. Incredible. The guy could swing. The Mets in '86 was something else, and I remember that. And they looked like they were going to be a dynasty. Well, not a dynasty, but they had the kind of squad that they were going to be in it. And I still remember when Lenny Dykstra was the outfielder. Lenny was wild. He was a broke Pete Rose type, but play hard. And Ray Knight, third base. I remember all that. Franco. Remember all that. So they came to the Yankees in '96 with Jeter and everything, and they fit in good. But I was glad as a Yankee fan for them to win, and they beat Atlanta and all that. But sometimes you're glad they got that ring, got that comeback. But oh, buddy, you should have seen them win when they were in their prime and their peak. Tell you like this, Steinbrenner wouldn't have gotten them for peanuts on the dollar. He would have had to pay for them guys. So Yeah. So if you get a chance, if you ain't watched them on YouTube, you should see their old highlights. That's where you can really appreciate Strawberry and Gooden, especially Strawberry and AAA. But yeah, they were bad boys. Just glad they alive and everything like that, with everything. But they were in that. they they were into all kinds of stuff. But so yeah. So yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so many memories when I talk about those cats. I mean, yeah. That was quite a time ago. So, and it's like when I can go back in time because I can think about what I was doing. And I was a huge baseball fan. I mean, I was watching all those sports, but baseball still went a big deal to me up until about 30 years ago, I'd say. And then it kind of fell off. I think it fell off. I don't know. I forgot when it wasn't quite. I think the strike in '94 kind of just derailed me. And I still kept up with certain players and teams, but they messed up everything that set up. So depends on what you asking me. You asked me the time, and if you want to know, the NFL still had dynasties up until, and they were still, but it's been, been like certain people take over in the NFL. That's where it's been. They changed a lot of stuff, but they made it more entertaining. NBA, you see what happened with the NBA, so that's kind of what's up. So yeah, there's a lot of pimping in baseball, so a lot of stories about cats doing some stuff. So but yeah, it's all great to go down memory lane with it. mm-hmm. You got memories, you got flashbacks about it all. So yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to how college football be this weekend. I'm seeing where Michigan, Jordan, it's kind of playing out the way it's supposed to. So we'll see how that play out. The NBA, the tournament crap, I ain't really big on that, but we'll see what that means. I know some people was Kevin Durant for MVP. I saw some people talk about that. Or they asked why have people kind of gone off of him. Well, sometimes he get hurt, so you forget how great he's going to be considered one of the greatest players ever, talent-wise, skill-wise, number-wise. However, Kevin Durant, he's going to be more closer to the Kawhi Leonard boat than the Steph Curry boat because injuries and being with suspect teammates. That's the one way people kind of drop you. Because with Kyrie and James Harden, and you're going with Booker, who's suspect in terms of clutch time. So, on paper it looks legit, but let's be realistic. Most people do not see Phoenix beat Jokic in a 7-game series. So that's going to be tough. Denver is going to be a handful once they get it together and they come that time. So, but Durant is still a great player. And for some people I always had Steph over him for the most. I think he was more talented, but Steph changed the course of basketball, showcased what being a great teammate and deferring could do. So just because you're more talented doesn't mean you're necessarily better. People get that misconstrued. Because I think Steph Curry is better than LeBron James, and LeBron's a better skill overall. But now I'm just talking rings. Steph makes teammates better. They've been more consistent. I haven't seen consistency with LeBron James a lot because they didn't gotten coaches fired. I mean, does he go anywhere where he don't get 2 or 3 coaches fired? Everywhere except for Miami. And I still say he played his best ball in Miami. Oh, and not even just as a Heat fan, just common sense. Because you win 2 rings, your 2 league finals MVPs, and your 2 finals MVPs. 2 rings you don't win, your runner-up, your second in MVP vote. So I'll take them 50%ers all day, all night. That to me was a 4-year career that's peak prime. Nowhere else can you say that. So anyway, but yeah, that's just some side thoughts about stuff. Because I saw the Durant thing, and I might touch it, but I think that Rob Parker and them did that thing about why he fell off, and I might do my own take on it. But that's my thoughts on that one. Because he's not forgotten, but after Charles Barkley said he was a bus rider, and they end with Curry wins the ring, and they win without him, and they win unlikely, and then he teams up with Kyrie, and he's one toe behind the line, one toe ahead of the line, and Giannis goes and wins. He doesn't quite have the same perception he had 3 or 4 years ago or something. So, but he's still arguably in the teens is one of the greatest players ever. You can make that case. It'd be interesting what people have Durant. I think if he played a full season and he right situation, because if he wins 2 rings or something, change the landscape. So, Anyway, I'm going to be here for a couple more minutes. If I see anybody else got anything left to say before I conclude, I definitely appreciate Ted always, and sympathy and condolences are with you, brother. Thoughts and prayers with you. Anytime you need to reach out, feel free. Appreciate all the questions and the content. Always love going back down memory lane and talking about yesterday and yesteryear and what's happening in the present. And we cover a different bases in sports. Appreciate it. Great. Glad that you came through, Nate. Respect. I tell anybody you got comments, questions, thoughts, feel free. I have no problem. Came out here to chop it up on this Sunday. Hope everybody had a safe, blessed weekend. If you celebrated, cool. If you didn't, cool. I don't celebrate personally. I got my personal thoughts and takes and all that, and I do them in videos, and I'll say what that's about. And I don't acknowledge no Black Friday because I think it's racially offensive for a lot of reasons. If you know the history about it, it's a slave auction day, but they found a way to whitewash things in America. 3Ks, I already said about that, but make sure everybody's in good health and safe and sound. Staying protected, keeping yourself clean, keeping your mind clean, keeping your conscience clean, enlightened, and and engaged in all kinds of things. So I'm gonna give it about another minute before I sign off. But I appreciate words and appreciate folks stopping by. I like to do this sometimes during the week, sometime on a Thursday, but always Sunday. I like to make this round table on a Sunday. It's probably my favorite day. Gets me going. So I'm in for the last minute before I conclude, unless someone else got something else to say. But there's some great comments and thoughts and takes and reflections, and I always like this too, because when we talk about different, we can go back and forth with all this and everything like that. So, I am looking forward to what happened with college football, but until Michigan actually finishes off, I'm not going to count they beat Ohio State. Now, can you finish? Can you finish Michigan? And will Harbaugh be his own, put his foot in his behind, or will they finish? So that's my question. Because I definitely think they got the talent. I just don't know who's the best team in college football. They're one of them. And the Heisman Trophy thing is going to be interesting too, but, it's kind of hard to say with that. So I have no doggy, so we'll see. And Deion Sanders, for the record, did better. And make no mistake about it. I still support Deion. It's just that team, you got to play defense, and they got caught up in the showmanship and didn't get caught up in the finished product. But don't count Deion out. They will be back. He will be back. He can coach on that level. He took a lot of shots on and off the field. Some of it merited because of some of the, what was being brought, but some of it was definitely racist and it was a push. But I never count that man out. I'm not gonna count Deion out. I believe in Deion, and you know what? You can only go but up. He got 4 wins out of a team that only won 1 game, so So I didn't check the game against Utah, but either way, they almost made a bowl. So one of the most important sports figures don't count out. Anyway, peace. the best. Look forward to it, and I'll be back again soon. Anybody wants to do another live stream, hit me up. Let me know if you want to talk live again, because I'll come back if you want to. If not, I'll see you in a few days. All right, I'm out. Peace. Best. Stay safe. Be careful out there. Keep yourself clean. Keep your mind.